Good morning.
Good morning, all you beautiful people, and that includes the rest of you too.
Yeah, a
I'll
few of
let
you.
you choose amongst each other who is and who isn't.
Eeny, meeny,
Don't make
miny.
it political though. Don't go there.
Oh,
Right?
we'll have to divide up the crowd.
Well, we've been sitting on the porch having our coffee, talking stuff, and I guess we got tired of talking to each other, so we decided to talk to you for a while.
Talk to you people. You
No,
fine
you
people.
did. There you go. And no, you didn't do anything wrong. Okay.
Unless you're wearing one of those red caps.
Well,
And I don't know what to tell you about that.
hey, we're not trying to say vote blue or anything like that just because we're both wearing blue and we talk about that all the time. We're not. We're saying vote your conscience. And I truly am. Vote your conscience, whatever that is. And if it happens to be aligned with what's going on over there in the Republican Party and all of that, I will pray for you because I love you anyway. Okay? All right, well, let's leave it at that. Uh, we want to talk more about contracts. That's what we talked about last time. And interestingly enough, Craig and I were discussing just how broad that concept is.
Yeah.
Like Craig and I, we have agreements between each other. We're partners.
Hmm.
And we've made agreements between each other, always based on a handshake and a promise.
Hmm.
And we've always kept our promises to each other
Hmm.
and to everybody else around us.
Right.
Well, as a society, we're getting ready to enter into a very important social contract
You bet.
with a bunch of politicians. That's what they are. Here's what happens. Remember, in a contract, one person says, hey, if you promise to do X for me, I will do Y for you.
Hmm.
That's a standard agreement, a promise for a promise. Well, isn't that what politicians do? They get it there and they say, vote for me and I'll set you free. So if you do vote for them, if you do X, then they will set you free. That's why. Boom. Simple as that. Now, what's the difference between social contracts, which is what
Hmm.
when we vote in a politician to an office, we agree to vote him in to pay him for his
Right.
time, him or her, pardon me, let me not be chauvinistic here, that politician. We agree to pay that person for their time, their service, their expertise, their skills in managing our country, whether it's a small town mayor or a large town mayor, which we won't talk about Adams, but doesn't really matter. It's the same. There's a social agreement there between us, the constituency, the citizenry. Now, what is our reparation? What are our damages if a politician breaches? See, it's not as simple as let's say we have just two people or a group of people. Let's make this pertinent. As you know, we make films. I try to sneak this in whenever I can. And in the process of making films, we enter into all kinds of agreements with many different people, don't we, Craig?
Oh, yes.
About how many
You
would you
bet
say?
we do.
Oh,
Oh, my
consider.
gosh. Well, per film, I mean, it could be anywhere between, let's say an average of 30, but with actors, with everybody, with crew. But it's an ample number, sure.
And we keep those agreements because every time we enter into one, we're asking somebody, if you do X for us, we'll do Y for you. Simple as that. And as all of you know, it's real simple. Let's say you get a person. Let's call him Josh. And Josh enters into an agreement with a group of people, and they start working. And Josh says, if you do X, I'll do Y. So you start working like crazy, this group of people. And they spend a lot of time and energy to do this. Well, isn't that the same thing as a politician? If you take care of all these things for me, You vote for me, you take care of these things for me, you elect me, you put me into office, you pay me, then I will do Y for you. Well, in this, when Josh doesn't come across correctly, i.e., keep his promise and meet his obligations to this group of people, then that's a breach of contract. That's a breach of the agreement. And this group of people can sue Josh for breaching that. Well, and I'm not talking about any particular politician like Josh Harder or any of those guys. I don't care about all that. I'm just using the name Josh as an example because it's a good name to use. But we expect our politicians, our Joshes, to come across and keep their word. And when they don't, our only recourse with politicians is to fire them.
Mm-hmm.
Vote them out of office. Get rid of them. Remember something. I was taught this many, many, many years ago. Don't trust anybody who tells you they have the way. They have the answer to your social problems. You can trust them, but don't believe them. Trust them as far as their actions prove worthy to trust them. Trust them as far as you see the results of those actions. And from that, you can make a judgment. I like this person, I don't like this person. Or how about this is let's more simple. Let's take like out of it. Let's just say, I trust this person. You don't have to like them, but you must trust them. I trust this person because they kept their word. That's important. That's called, and we talked about this last time, integrity. Wow. Integrity. I can't tell you how many times, and Craig, how about you? How many times in your life have you been brought to a point where your decision was based on integrity? Not whether you could line your pocket, but integrity, whether it was the right thing to do.
All the time, David. I mean, seriously, as we navigate through life, right and wrong. I mean, beginning as a child, we're always confronted with it. As parents, we teach our kids, make the right choices, rolling back under the point, if you will, of integrity. And being a single dad for years, I tried to instill in my kids, the outcome of your life is shaped upon those decisions, hence free will. You make enough bad choices, things go one way. You make enough good choices. Again, back under the issue of integrity, keeping your word, man, even when it's not convenient, even when you may pay a price literally, financially, in some regards, going back to business, making things right. Something got screwed up. No fault of the other person. You knew to do the right thing. You had to square things up, honor your word. And sometimes financially, it's tough, but honor your word, make things right. And along those lines, and I know we have both seen this together in our business dealings, that you expect that in like kind from other people. And I think all of us, and like to your point, just as we navigate through life, we expect that relationship with others, just personal or in business. And that's always a disappointing thing when you're not always treated similar from other people. And I'll just leave it at that. But yeah, I mean, as kids, just do the right thing, man. And again, under the broad strokes of integrity, your character, what are you about? What do you stand for?
And it doesn't matter, I think, because I like what you said about the right thing, and the right thing isn't, and I love the way you defined it, isn't taking the opportunity at all costs, because sometimes the opportunity has too much of a cost to others, a detriment to others, and that should be weighed. Well, America, which, as we all know, is run by a corporation. Let's not lie to each other or ourselves. Corporate America has not totally adopted ethical corporate cultures, a guideline, an understanding how they will interact with society, how they treat society. Is society workers their slaves, their indentured servants who they will hold in labor forever, which brings to mind the labor strike coming. That's right now, the longshoreman business and all that. That could be very devastating for us financially.
Yeah.
But why? Because we import everything. If you made and grew your own food, guess what? You wouldn't have a lot of that. If they did a lot more manufacturing here in this country, we wouldn't have some of these problems. But on the other hand, we're not talking about that. We're talking about fair labor wages.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a union person, straight up. I make no bones about it. I've been a union steward in the past for CWA, IBEW, and I'm proud of that. My dad was a union man, and him becoming a union member changed our lives, straight out. Growing up, I grew up in some pretty severe conditions, projects in Denver and East San Jose, some pretty heavy neighborhoods. But nonetheless, we were talking about social contracts and how important they are in keeping our word. So everything revolves around integrity. What's fair? When we start talking about inflation, for example, we start saying, especially all these people hooting and hollering about the president isn't taking care of inflation. No offense, folks, but that's ignorant. You don't know. And don't be offended by the word ignorant. Ignorance is just a matter of knowing. And once you know, guess what? The ignorance is gone. That's simple. But you got to do a little research. You got to take the time to examine an issue. And when you look at corporate profits relative to the food industry, you'll understand inflation is bullshit. Did I say that? Yeah, I said that because it is. There is no inflation. There's creation. There's creation of profit. And they start talking about, oh, it's costing us more. Well, of course it's costing you more because the people who are at the top are taking more. Simple as that. So the social contract that those organizations have with their workers to take care of them. You work for me, which is if you do X, I'll pay you sufficiently so that you can survive, so that you can live, so that you can have a life. I'll do Y. They don't keep that when it starts getting out of hand because, oh, how much money do they really need? Oh, my God. Oh, and then they die like everybody else. Where's all that money? To the ex people that come down below them and they get to do it again. Come on, what kind of crap is that? I mean, really. Let's share the wealth, folks. Let's share the wealth. What's the problem with that? I don't see an issue with it. But remember something, sharing the wealth is sharing the responsibility. And workers already take that. They show up every day, no matter what, rain or shine. Like those workers in that plastics factory. Where was it? I think it was North Carolina or one of those states.
That was North Carolina, David.
The management wouldn't let these poor people go home.
That's right.
Till the utter, bitter, too late end. And they don't know where they're at now.
That's
Some
right.
of them are missing. He said, well, we didn't tell them they'd be fired. What kind of crap is that? The threat from management's the same. You can't leave. Come on. I've been a supervisor. I ran businesses. I know what those words mean. So where's the social contract here? People not keeping their word. I don't know how to deal with this. I really don't. Because to me, it's not a matter of a complicated analysis. It's not. It's simple. You do what you say you're gonna do. And when you can't, you say, I'm sorry, I can't do it. I failed.
Yeah.
Huh? Yeah. That's how I see it. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Sounds so
Uh,
simple, doesn't it?
it is. It is. It is so simple, and I just don't get it. Uh, we could talk about this forever, but there's so many things going on. It's like all these different people dying, all these actors. Oh my gosh, uh, it, it's kind of scary, and at the same time, it's like, the good news is I'm still here to read about it. No, I don't mean that facetiously. I just mean that honestly. Okay, because that's the truth. Every day I see somebody else, I'm going, oh damn, not them. It's
Yeah.
getting tight. It's getting tight. But you know what's interesting? Have you noticed? Majority of all of so many actors, 89, 92. I mean, they're living very long and working all the way into their 80s. As long as they can remember their lines and have a good improv, ad lib, then they're in business. But and that's why I love this business. As an actor, uh, I like to think about being in a different circumstance, a different time, a different mindset. What does that person do? How do they come about? What creates them? What's their backstory? What gives life to their emotions, to their actions? Why do they pursue what they want? And in relationship to that, how do they look? What do they look like? How do they dress? How do they comb their hair? How do they drink their coffee? How do they eat? And I think about all this crap, and for most people, it doesn't mean anything. And even in a performance, it may not mean anything at the final analysis. Everybody looks at it and goes, "What the hell was that?" So, you can't second guess yourself. As an actor, you just got to go for it. It's called trust. Trust yourself. And I've been told that by so many directors growing up in this industry off and on, and I find it so true. But that trust, you're working with a director, and he says, "Hey, I want you to do X and cross this way and pick that up, then turn to the camera and wink." And you're going, "Why the hell would the character do that?"
Right.
That's where the trust comes in. As an actor, I'll do it. Okay, if that's what you want, and I'm just going to do it. And then afterwards, it looks at it, and all in my mind, I might be thinking, no, this isn't right. Maybe something else. And maybe I have an idea. I won't say anything until I've done exactly what the director asked me to do. And I'm hoping, trusting that director sees perhaps that there's a better way, a different choice. That might, be a little clearer, might, bring out the action more, the relationship between the characters, enhance the scene in that regard. And so then if the director's fidgeting is going, well, at that point, that's my cue. And I'll say, I got an idea about something. Do you mind if I try it? 9 times out of 10, they're going to say, no, by all means, let's see what you got. And then you do it. And usually you're right because it was your gut and you knew and you studied this character. You understood where this character was coming from. So the director goes, I like that. Okay, let's keep that.
Yeah.
And for me, that's how, as an actor, I will work with a director. As a director, I do exactly the opposite. I ask the actor, show me what you got.
Mm-hmm.
Before I tell them anything, we get on set, and I suspect they've been thinking about it. They've been working through it in their mind. They got an idea where they're going, what they're doing. So I say, okay, let me see what you got. And if it's on, in my opinion, and whether that opinion is right or wrong doesn't matter. But if it's on, in my opinion, then I'm like, that's good. All right, let's do it. But if it's not, I don't tell them it's not. Instead, I'll go up to the actor and I'll ask him, okay, that's interesting. Let's think about something. And I'll start working with the actor relative to that. Where's this person coming from? Why are they in this room talking to this person? What do they want from this person? And when I'm asking what do they want, I'm generally looking for a few simple things. Do they want respect from this person? So they're trying to prove something. Do they want love for this person? So they're flirting with them, maybe. Or maybe they're even pleading with them, wanting love, begging for it. Do they want forgiveness from this person? Do they want understanding from this person? Do they want acceptance from this person? And I'll create scenarios in which the actor can examine each of those 5 needs. And 9 times out of 10, one of those needs will fit perfect. And the actor will then get it on their own, not me telling them what to think, how to feel. Then it's not real for the actor. I want the actor to feel it. So the only way for that to happen is for the actor to discover it on their own. My job as a director is to help them discover that. I work chiefly with the actors as a director, understanding their movement, why they're doing what they're doing, where they're coming from, why they're coming from there, what they want, etc. And I try to work with cinematographers and technicians who understand their work so well that I know they got them in frame, right angle, etc., whatever it is we've talked about, because I generally do that beforehand, discussing this with the camera guy as to what exactly this should look like and how, etc. And it usually kind of works out. But you know what? There's a unique understanding between actors and directors in that context when I work. It's called, and it's with every director and every actor. It's called trust. Again, we get back to that trust.
Yeah.
It's always that. I trust that this person's guiding me the correct way. I trust that they understand. I trust that I even understand, and that these other people understand. And that's what's so unique about, I think, working with people. When people work together as a group and they understand that, conceptually, they have a common mindset. And as a result of that common mindset, they generally have an understanding of their role and how they fit into that and what their obligations are, what they must do. Hey, doesn't that sound like a social contract between politicians and the public? Yeah, it does, doesn't it? It sounds like a social contract. So all contracts basically have the same element, whether it's a contract between you, and let's take this even one step higher for you religious folks. I don't want to leave you out. I love you. Okay. I'm not a religious guy. I'm a believer and a faithful follower of God, knowing that Jesus is his son. End of issue. I don't go to anybody's church. Now, but for you that do, I have no problem with that. I applaud it. Whatever works for you, however you can make it happen. That's beautiful. But let's be real about something. When you go to that church, you also are involved in the social contract with that church. And you go there and you say, if you help me believe, if you help me become more faithful, if you care about me and my soul and you pray for me and you help me get to heaven, I will make a donation every Sunday. And maybe even before that. And I might even show up on Saturday and Wednesday to prayer. And I might make a donation then too, and I will help with the church. And the church says, thank you. And for your donation, we will help the poor. We will accept all comers into our fold. We will love and pray for everybody in the world. So there's a social contract right there. And they're saying, if you do X, come into my church, I will do Y. And then they even make another condition. And guess what? You don't have to pay us. If you don't have the money, don't make that donation. It doesn't matter. We love you anyway. Come on in. And I think that's a beautiful thing. And I love that. But let's be real about something. Churches are ran by men and women, people. People. Brings us right back to that integrity stuff. I mean, come on. Look at these mega churches. Who's that for? Come on. That's not for all you followers. He's hoping he gets more of you folks, man, with that wallet. Kind of reminds me of politics. There's some people running in politics who will constantly look to their constituency for their pocket, constantly asking for money in the face of wrong. Well, look at here. I may have done wrong. I may not have done wrong. That's for the courts to prove. But I have some extreme lawyer bills, and I need help. And if you love me, there's the condition. If you love me. I love you, man. I love you. Okay, if you love me, send some money to me, and I'm gonna sell you these tennis shoes. Okay, I'm gonna sell you some tennis shoes and maybe a hat. I'm gonna get you a hat. That's it. You need a hat. I'm being facetious. I apologize if I hurt anybody's feelings. No, I'm not. Get over it. It is what it is. I'm sorry. I didn't pick your candidate. I'm sorry. Man's uneducated. He's just a flash in the pan. I don't even know how to think about it anymore. When standing side by side to Kamala, he cannot. Her education, her background, her experience, he can't match that anywhere. I don't care about his celebrity status. It's bullshit. It's all bullshit. What I care about is his ability to comprehend, understand, analyze. He hasn't. He hasn't. He started questioning her work experience in high school because he couldn't question the rest of it. Come on. Attorney General. I mean, come on. He can't question the rest of it. So she may have done all those other really fantastic things, but she didn't work at McDonald's. 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 They make pretty good fries, you know. I love their hamburgers. Their cheeseburgers. Double burger. You ever had one of their double burgers? They're good stuff, that cheeseburger. McDonald's. I think, Wendy's used to make a good burger. I don't know what happened to Wendy's. Oh, I'm sorry. I get carried away when I'm thinking about Trump. I just kind of go off where, I'm like a fly. Oh, I'm sorry. No, I'm not. This country's in a position where we need to seriously think about where we're at, the social contracts that have been made with us, and whether they're kept. I don't trust 99.9% of politicians, straight up, because they all say they have the answer. They all say they have the way. I trust conduct. I trust action. I trust at the end. I trust experience. And again, he has none. His presidential experience was no experience. His top commanders left him. Everybody abandoned him, his cabinet, his people, except for the close cronies who were so far up in the dark. They couldn't see anyway. Anyway, those are some smelly people. My point is this, folks. Get past all the prejudice, the bigotry, all the bias that you have. Get past looking at these people as men and women, the two candidates. Look at them as candidates. Don't see her as a woman and don't see him as a man.
Yeah.
See them both as politicians for what they are and line up their experiences, line up their background, and ask yourself, who makes more sense? Who cares more about the social contract with the public? They work for us. We don't work for them. Kind of like the church. They're supposed to work for us, right? Not us for them. Anyway, you get the idea. So it's extremely important, I think, this round that we quit thinking black and white. We keep our focus on what exactly is happening. We have two people, two politicians vying for the same office.
Mm-hmm.
One's had it already. The other one has had extreme experience. An attorney general, senator, give me a break here. Vice President of the United States. And she's loved by all who work with her. Why? Because what she can accomplish, she does. What she can't, she can't. And everybody thinks, oh, what has Kamala done all this time? She hasn't done anything in that office. She's just been sitting there. She had 3.5 years. She got to, folks, she doesn't make policy. She cannot. She's not president.
That's right.
She has no power to do any of that. What she does is she follows order by the president. He tells her what to handle and why she's picked and where to go with that. So get past that ignorance. Remember, ignorance is not a bad thing, only if you refuse to enlighten yourself.
Mm-hmm.
That becomes stupidity. And there's no cure for that.
Mm-hmm.
None. Ignorance, you got a chance. Okay, you got a chance. Break out a book, man. Get some understanding. Enlighten yourself. Get past the man-woman thing. Quit looking at them that way. Put them side to side.
Yeah.
Look at their background, their experience. And quit blaming Kamala for being vice president. What did Pence accomplish as vice president? Zero. Because he's
except he found his balls when he needed to. Goes back to a moment of clarity. Hold on. A moment of clarity, a moment of integrity that J.D. Vance on the 88th minute of that debate fumbled away. So at least at that point, Pence found his male parts.
Yes, he did. And because he's a constitutionalist. He understands the importance of the Constitution. Trump has never read the Constitution. I can guarantee that. He wouldn't know what it means. He wouldn't know how to interpret it or understand it. And he needs somebody to tell him, and then he'd argue with them and go to McDonald's for a burger. So I think very seriously when we consider who these two people are, we need to really get past the man-woman thing, the black-white thing, the Republican-Democrat thing, and look at them as candidates. Pure and simple. They're candidates. Who are they? Let's check them out. Now, I think it's extremely important that all of us vote, no matter what. Vote your conscience. Any way you vote, you're an American. You're an American. Vote any way you want to vote. But vote with a clear conscience and after a thorough examination. And don't look at them as men and women. Get past that. Get past all the brown. Get past all the ethnicity, the culture, the rich boy, the wealth. Get past all that.
Mm-hmm.
The celebrity status, all the bullshit. Line them up and ask yourself, who's more qualified?
You bet.
In my opinion, it's Kamala Harris.
Amen.
Straight up. That's my opinion. Now, we appreciate that. And remember, in your lifetime, don't be a Josh. Keep that word. Have some integrity. Okay? We love you. And join us again for here in the Porch Talk, where the coffee's always loud and the dogs are waiting. Right on. Thank you so much.
Have a great rest of your day, folks.